So it was recently announced by CD Projekt Red that they have started full production of The Witcher 4. And that's something that's really good news, considering the fact that it's a game that people have been waiting for almost a decade now. Because The Witcher 3 came out back in 2015, and it was probably one of the best games of the mid-teens, if not the teens decade in general, and it was massively like successful on a commercial level. I'm talking like in terms of sales, it did like 30 mil, and this is across multiple game systems that it was released on. I'm talking about the um the PS4, the Xbox One, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC, and honestly, as an action RPG, I feel like it raised the bar a little bit for other developers to try and top. And this to know that that game managed to do like 30 million in terms of sales, and knowing that the game was as popular as it was in 2015, that says a lot, because 2015 was actually a blockbuster year for video game releases, and I would go as far as to say that rivaled 2023 in terms of high profile video game releases, because we saw games like Fallout 4, Bloodborne, Halo 5 Guardians, Batman Arkham Knight, Metal Gear Solid 5, Rocket League, Dying Light, Mad Max, um, Call of Duty, Black Ops 3, Just Cause 3, Mortal Kombat 10. All those games came out in 2015. And honestly, it's hard to believe that, 2015 was almost a decade ago, because for the most part, it seems like time just flies. And it seemed like all these games, for the most part, aren't even really that old. And as far as the Witcher series is concerned, like, it's been around since 2007. The Witcher 3: A Wild Hunt was the most successful installment of them all, even though a lot of people like, The Witcher 2. And The Witcher 2, I think, was a game that came out back in 2011. I think that did like at least 8 mil in sales, and that managed to earn CD Projekt Red more than $13 million overall. And honestly, like, CD Projekt Red, for the most part, they've been on fire with their games, and I guess Cyberpunk 2077 is an example of such, because that game came out back in, I believe, 2020, and despite its disastrous launch, it actually ended up being good once patches and mods were made to the game. And I believe Cyberpunk did like 30 mil in terms of sales since its release back in 2020 as well. And I know, like, when it first came out, I was kind of trashing it for its disastrous release, and, the glitches and the bugs and all that other stuff. But CD Projekt Red, patched it up well enough to a point where it was playable. It was something that I feel like, people feel like they need to own. It's something that makes for an incredible gameplay experience. And it's something that doesn't surprise me, because CD Projekt Red really knows how to hype up their games, and Cyberpunk 2077 was an example of that. And I'm pretty sure the same thing's going to happen with The Witcher 4. But the thing is, I think it's going to be a while before The Witcher 4 actually comes out, because apparently they had just started the production of the game itself. And I think, like, one of the biggest issue with the Witcher 4 was that, I guess, years ago, like almost a decade ago, they were looking for, staff members, and maybe they didn't have enough staff. And I read on a website called nichegamer.com that the staff for the Witcher 4 team has grown to more than 400 members. So I feel like, this game is going to be on the fast track in terms of development. And as far as an anticipated release date is concerned, we have no idea what to expect. I'm hoping maybe in the next 3 or 4 years we'll get the game. Hopefully we'll get The Witcher 4 sooner than that. But there hasn't really been any official announcements on when the game is going to be released. And at some point, I thought The Witcher 4, if CD Projekt Red was going to do it, I had thought that it was going to be saved for the next generation, like the PlayStation 6. And I think it's smart that, if they're going to release it on the PlayStation 5, it's something that it should definitely do, because it's not promised that Microsoft is going to have a game console after the Xbox Series X because there have been signs pointing to the fact that Microsoft plans on, I guess, quietly withdrawing from the video game console wars, and and honestly, that makes Nintendo and Sony the top two entities in relation to, I guess, video games and in terms of like video game platforms in general. But but yeah, The Witcher 3 is like massively popular within the video game world. So much so to a point where we got a drama series on Netflix. It started back in 2019, has like 3 seasons. A lot of people have nothing but good things to say about it for the most part. And I feel like it's one of the few um, TV like adaptations of a video game that we actually got because you look at other adaptations of video games that we've gotten on streaming apps and stuff like that, like Halo. People have trashed it, had nothing but bad things to say about it for the most part. I would say Castlevania, the Castlevania television anime series that we got on Netflix, which started back in 2017. That was actually pretty good. Like the Castlevania stuff is pretty solid, but just about every other television adaptation of a video game for the most part is just forgettable. And and I feel like, like The Witcher for the most part is going to be a franchise that's only going to become more popular as time goes by. And I feel like if The Witcher 4 is if it's marketed correctly, it's something that could possibly rival The Witcher 3 in terms of both sales and in terms of popularity. Um, and believe it or not, I'm actually having higher hopes for The Witcher 4 than I guess Grand Theft Auto 6 because a lot of people have been saying that GTA 6 is going woke, and that's something that's going to drive a lot of people um, away from it, and it's something that's going to turn a lot of people off. We're just going to have to sit back and wait and see what happens, but I definitely have high hopes for The Witcher 4, but I would like to see like screenshots and gameplay footage and stuff like that before I officially jump to any conclusions.